broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 57 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I almost forgot what our podcast is about just to start off the show today. Really good place to start, guys. I'm Tom. I've got Trevor. I've got Damon. We also do have a special guest joining us today, Andres, who is our Star Wars Land correspondent, I guess you would say. So welcome to the podcast, Andres, and thank you for coming to give us your review of Star Wars Land from Disneyland.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah, and thanks for listening to the show and volunteering to come on this episode. We really appreciate it, and we're excited to hear a little bit about it and ask some questions. So
yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, good. Yeah, great. And we'll talk a little bit about like your Instagram and all the other cool stuff that you do too when we go through here. What?
I think at this point we should at least send our well wishes over to Nick, who was unable to join us due to an emergency.
Yes.
So well wishes to you, Nick, and to your family.
Absolutely. So just so everybody knows, we had a lot of you guys write in and volunteer to do this, and we really appreciated that. And honestly, we took
favorites. He didn't even do it in order or anything. He just
that's not true at all. Andres, that's not true. Don't listen to them. It was in order. Nick got to us first, so and that's the only reason. Those of you that reached out, we appreciate it. But Nick reached out first, and so we gone with Nick, and unfortunately, Nick had a family emergency. So we're obviously sorry to hear that, Nick, and thanks for volunteering in the first place, but hopefully everything goes well with your family there. So before we talk about Star Wars, we're going to talk about my trip. I just got back hours ago, like literally hours ago. I just pulled into my house, so I've got a lot of fresh stuff to talk about because I just left Disney yesterday after 8 days at Old Key West, and so I definitely have some things I want to talk about here. So first of all, first time I've stayed at Old Key West. I've heard, mixed things about it. It's funny because the negative you always hear about Old Key West is the bus situation there, right? I feel like that's the one thing that everyone always says is like, oh, the buses are awful. And actually the one thing I found that was like the most positive of Old Key West was the buses.
Well, how many stops are there?
Okay, so there's like 5 stops internally.
And
right?
I think that's the dilemma. I think that most people that are used to staying DVC, right, are used to staying 1 or 2 stops. Yeah, and I think that's kind of the problem. But
I get that. And where I stayed was South Point Road, which was the second stop, which was great because when you're on your way back, you're the second stop, right? So, but I'll tell you why it didn't bother me that there were 5 stops is because I was not on one bus the entire week where we had to stand. Every single bus, it was low enough in crowds that everybody in the bus could sit.
What was it? Based on where you were, you think, or just park crowds?
I don't know. The parks were pretty crowded. They felt pretty crowded. I almost feel like maybe they just have more buses going back and forth between Old Key West and the parks. I don't know. We were baffled by it because it was like every trip, on the way back, we always have to stand, or even in the morning, like early in the morning, we had to.
You felt like it was worth it, though. I think that's the big question that I had is I've always wanted to kind of stay there just based on the points. Right, when we're strictly talking TVC, we're just talking about points for me, and that's kind of one of the reasons why, but we just haven't made our way there yet.
I mean, the bus situation did not bother me.
We're coming from Saratoga. It's the same situation as Saratoga.
Same situation, yeah. Well, have you even stayed at Saratoga or not?
Yeah.
Okay, you have.
Twice. Okay.
Yeah, and so I didn't find it bad. I kind of liked it. I mean, just because the sheer fact that we could sit on the bus, always and didn't have to give up our seat. I mean, that was really nice. And I will say the proximity of Old Key West to like Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and Hollywood Studios. I mean, they're short rides to all those parks. It's a really nice kind of centrally located, not like we're not talking like the Polynesian compared to Magic Kingdom, but it's like a 10-15 minute bus ride at the most. So that was nice. It was kind of short trips in between the resort and those different parks. Obviously Animal Kingdom is still a little bit of a trip, but it's still not even that bad. I mean, it was kind of nice. So, but before we, that's one positive, but there's a couple negatives that I had that I did not like. First of all, the check-in process there was a nightmare. I am not kidding when I tell you it took maybe 45 minutes to an hour to check in, which doesn't even make any sense. Because normally, you pull in, you drop off your bags, you park your car, you get to the parks, it's 10 minutes, you're in and out, right? I pulled in. So first of all, you guys, and everybody out there knows, most of the DVC resorts, you pull into, under the portico there, or whatever you want to call it, that drive up there. And there's like 4 lanes across. And then there's like another lane that's off to the side for Magical Express. With this resort, there's 2 lanes in the front that's shared by both Magical Express, trucks that are delivering stuff, and people that are arriving by car. Which just made and also there's a little bus stop in the front there too, so you have a very small bus stop and people spilling out into the lanes under the portico, just like standing in the road. So I pull up and I'm stuck behind a Magical Express bus for about 10 minutes. It's blocking both lanes. I can't pull up any further. I try to get out of my car. I'm told I can't park there and take my stuff out. I have to pull up further. So I'm sitting there just for 10 minutes stuck behind a Magical Express bus. Then I get up there. And Bell Services says, well, you need to go park your car and go in and check to see the status of your room before we'll take your bags. And I said, well, I checked in online and my app is telling me my room is not ready. So it's not ready. Like, why do I need to go in and check in and, and find out if my room's ready or not? And they're like, well, you need to go check first. And so I go and park my car. I go inside and, there's a long line to check in. And so I wait for, maybe 20 minutes at least to talk to somebody for them to tell me exactly what I already knew, was that my room was not ready. And so then I go back out to Bell Services. They're like, okay, bring your car around and we'll take out all your bags. And then I bring my car around and what happens? I'm stuck behind a Magical Express bus again, sitting there for another 10 minutes waiting to unload my stuff. And it just was not a good experience. And all of the other resorts I've ever been to, they have all of those lanes. They have a separate area for Magical Express. It is a super easy process. The second you get up there, you park your car. There's already someone standing at your trunk waiting to take all your stuff out.
It's something that they learned, though, right? Older resort.
Yeah.
Okay, so they learned it for the newer resorts. Not much they're going to do about it.
And that's the thing. And I understand, like Old Key West was like the original, and it's been, it's been around a long time. I feel like there can be an improvement there. It just was frustrating. It was a frustrating start to my vacation. Especially when I have a cranky toddler there waiting for us to go and do whatever we're going to do. So, that, just wasn't the greatest. But the room was great. I'll say this. The room was great. It was huge, a lot of space. We had 4 adults in a studio with a baby. So as you can imagine, that sounds like a really cramped quarters. I did learn something I actually didn't know, and I don't know if either one of you guys knew this or any of you guys knew this, but once you're already there, once you're already in the room, you can't, so we, after 2 days, were like, maybe we should have gotten a 1-bedroom. You know what I mean? Because it was hard because the baby wanted to go to bed 7:30, 8 o'clock every night, and we're all in the same room,
But what's wrong with that?
Jeez.
Well, so we call DVC, and DVC's like, well, those points that you...
But I don't understand. What's wrong with going to bed at 7:30? That's what I'm getting at.
Lots of things, Damon. Well, because my kid is just there, and she's looking at us, so we had to pretend like we were sleeping, otherwise she wouldn't go down. So, and then we have 2 other adults in the room. But, to be fair, we were all pretty wiped and went to bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock every night. But so I called DVC 2 days in, and I'm like, hey, I want to can I upgrade to a 1-bedroom? I want, because there was a 1-bedroom available, and they were like, no, you can't do that once you're already there. And I'm like, really? They basically were like, well, the points are already allocated to that studio, so you would have to talk to the manager of the hotel to see if they would give you the points back to use towards an upgrade. And I was like, that's weird. I just didn't think that would be an issue.
Makes sense, though.
It does make
sense.
It makes total sense. It makes total sense when they said it. I just never thought of it, and I was like, man, but I want to give you more points. I want to use more points.
Take my money.
But, what's that?
Right.
So take my money here.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
Or take my points, I guess, in this sense.
Yeah, sort of take my money, right? Yeah. So I just didn't know that. That was never a situation that had come up. So
I guess
most of us are better planners than you, Tom.
Obviously. To be fair, this is the first time
or we just would have went to bed at 7:30 and not worried about it.
We went to bed probably 8:30 every night, which is weird for us. We're used to being out late. But to be fair, this is the first time we've gone with a toddler. We didn't really know we didn't really think about that aspect of
That's a
where
lot
she
of
was going
work.
to sleep, you know?
And it's a lot of work with a toddler. It makes it harder.
It is.
This is a whole new world that you've come into, Tom.
Well, it's true. This was like, to be fair, though, this was the test trip, right? So we scheduled this trip kind of last minute because we wanted to learn some lessons for the big trip we're going on in October, which is essentially the same trip we took this time. It's just, you know, I don't want to say a nicer resort because the Old Key West people are going to kill me, but we're, you know, the two bed, just a different trip, right? And so this was kind of a test and learn situation, right? We wanted to see what worked, what didn't. Now the next trip, none of this will matter because we'll have a 2-bedroom, so we can stick her in our room and then also have the living room to hang out and do whatever else we're going to do. The problem here was that we were all in the same room and there was no way to, you know, have some separate space, which, you know, kind of stunk. but it was fine. I mean, we still had a great time, and honestly, I am so tired. So we got just wiped out by the heat, first of all. Of course, this week it's going down to like high 80s as opposed to the high 90s it was last week. So yeah, that stunk. But again,
you did realize when you were gone, it was like 110 here, though. Right?
Oh, I know
like,
it was.
It's not like you were missing anything in North Carolina.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's for sure. But I mean, it was miserable to be in the parks. And I mean, I've been in July before. I've been in, you know, we've been in August a lot of times.
You know, we had snow here on Fridays, so just.
Well, and Andres, you're on the West Coast, right? So you always just have nice weather.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm not even going to mention our nice weather that we're having in SoCal.
Not fair. Just not fair. But so, I mean, listen, Old Key West overall, great resort. Everybody was nice there. Oh, my other big disappointment was Olivia's. Everyone talks about how great Olivia's was.
Really?
And yeah, right? You always hear how everyone's like, oh, Olivia's is so great. You got to go to Olivia's. So we go there on Saturday morning. They're doing brunch instead of breakfast, right? So they're doing, you know, brunch, which is fine. And it just wasn't good. I was really disappointed. And normally I don't complain about, like, you know, Disney prices for food, because usually I feel like the prices, even though inflated, still you get a good meal and, you know, a good amount of it, and it's still quality. This was $14 for like 2 eggs that were cold when they got there, a spoonful of potato casserole that was also cold, a dry biscuit, and 2 pieces of bacon. It was $14. And I was like, I don't understand why this is a thing.
So what I always hear about Olivia's is that what you want is the fried chicken.
Okay, so that's where I messed up is we went there for breakfast / brunch.
That's what I was wondering. Is that so? If anytime I've ever heard anyone talk about it, it's always the chicken. So yeah, if you had everything but the chicken, I can see why that didn't work out.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I will say that everybody else in my party, they had banana bread French toast and, oh gosh, what was the other thing? I don't remember. But everybody else seemed to have a good meal except for me. So, and I didn't love the quick service option there, which was outdoors. There was no like indoor quick service area, you know, like a lot of the other resorts have, where you can really sit down and, you know, grab some food real quick, but also, you know, have easy accessibility to it. But other than that, I mean, it was a great resort. We had a great time there. I mean, the pools were nice. They're spread out, you know, so there's a bunch of different pools by the different buildings. We were near transportation, so we were a short walk to our bus stop, which was not too bad. And except when it was pouring rain and we had to figure out how to get to our room without getting soaked, which was always a challenge. But we lucked out with weather. Weather was great. But like I said, Old Key West, mostly great. Check-in process wasn't great. But everything else was pretty good. And we liked it there a lot. It's a beautiful resort. We took a boat to Disney Springs one of the times, which was really nice. It's a really kind of a cool boat ride. Different from some of the other boat rides I've taken, because it's very like long and it's windy and it's weird. But it was cool. So I liked that. But go ahead. Sorry, Trevor. Were you gonna say something?
Well, I was just gonna ask. So from Disney Springs, I thought it was just across the lake. There is there another way that the boat goes?
So it's Saratoga that's just across the lake that you can walk the bridge across. Yeah. So at Saratoga you can, but they're almost like pontoon boats. They're different than the ones that like go back and forth between the Magic Kingdom resorts. They're like these big pontoon boats, and it's, you know, you take this really nice little scenic boat ride through like around the golf courses and by Saratoga Springs and over to Disney Springs. So that was nice. By the way, just wanted to throw it out there. Thanks for everybody for following us on social media as we went through the parks and did the thing with the hat. Really great. So much engagement on that. So many comments, man. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Everyone should be writing in now to make sure Trevor and myself actually get our hats for our trips.
You'll get your hats. They're coming.
Wait, and shirts? Did the shirts come in too?
The shirts did come in too, so everything's going to come in. It came in the day I was leaving for my trip. I didn't have time to get the post.
We wouldn't expect you to do it then. But wait, so here's the bigger question though: how many hats are still available for getting rid of?
That's a good question. I think I have about 12 hats available because we did have one listener find me. Scott from Tampa did find me. Very nice guy. Him and his wife Karen, they were very, very sweet. And Scott actually saw me take a picture in front of Universe of Energy, what was formerly Universe of Energy. He saw it on Facebook and was in the single rider line for Test Track, jumped out of line, and he's like, I gotta go find him. So jumped out of line, and all of a sudden I'm just sitting there. My daughter's taking a nap. I'm sitting on the bench while my wife's on Mission Space and my daughter's taking a nap. And Scott comes over and he's like, hey, am I too late? And I'm like, no, man. Scott, I got a couple hats for you. So that was fun, and they were fun to talk to.
Wait, so are you going to send Trevor and myself 2 hats so we can do the same thing?
Yeah, I'll send you guys a couple hats.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, so we can continue this when you guys go on your trips. I think it was fun. I think the listeners had a good time with it, and so it was fun kind of seeing where the hat was every day. So
I'll buy everyone ice cream too if they can find me.
Wow, man! Now you're making me feel cheap.
I was just gonna say, I appreciate that Scott felt that this was more important than Test Track. That actually does mean a lot.
He's
from Tampa though. He's probably been to Disney like 8 million times. So I would hope so too.
That's what he says. He goes, they take weekend trips. So, yes. But he's like, whatever. Test Track. He said to his wife, "You go have fun. I'm gonna go get a hat." So
nice,
which was pretty great. So really fun. So thanks to everybody who followed along with that, who commented.
But you know what everyone wants the answer to, right? There's only one question.
What? What, my daughter in Haunted Mansion?
Of course, I think that's what everyone's waiting on.
Yeah, so we took her on Haunted Mansion. We did. We decided to do it.
Did you start the GoFundMe for when she's 12 and seeing the psychiatrist, or not yet? We haven't started that.
We have not.
Okay.
So we skipped the stretch room. So we went straight to the main room where we get into the Doom buggies.
Did you ask the cast member to do that?
Yes. Yeah, so you just ask the cast member. They give you like a little pass almost, and give you really terrible instructions, by the way. They were like, go down to the end of the hallway. I was like, well, the end of the hallway is an exit door, and the exit door takes you out to where the exit is, like to where the exit to the ride is. So I'm like, what is that? And then you go inside. So then you have to go into the exit, and then there's another door that's not marked that you have to walk into. It was not good instructions on how to do it. But regardless, so we take her on. She's fine. She's just kind of looking around, just kind of pointing at things. We get to the part where you go backwards, where the thing turns backwards, right? And it stops. So we're going backwards, and the ride stops for whatever reason. I look over at my daughter, and she's completely asleep.
Oh man!
Yes.
So
that is the best spot to take a nap too.
I don't know how long she'd been asleep, but she had been asleep for I don't know how long she'd fallen asleep, but she slept through half the ride at least. So anticlimactic here. She didn't have any poor reaction. She just fell asleep during it. So.
But that's good because that means it's next time, she may react differently, but at least, she's familiar with it now, right?
Exactly. And that's the hope. We did take her on Frozen, which, has that little drop. And I have a priceless photo of us going down the hill, the Photopass that it takes. And I zoomed in on it, and she just has this, like, I don't want to call it sheer terror on her face, but she just is like, what is happening?
Very unsure.
Yeah, very unsure, freaked out a little bit. But she didn't cry. She was mostly ambivalent to pretty much all of the rides. She didn't really react. Like, we took pictures on Dumbo, and she kind of just had, like, this face on, like, I don't know what to think of this. You know what I mean? Like that kind of look to it. So one of the things we realized on this trip too is, you know, Hollywood Studios does not have a lot for like toddlers. It has the Disney Junior thing and it has the couple shows, but outside of that, like almost all of the rides are for older, are for kids and adults.
The Disney Junior thing is so key though. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Awesome.
That's true. We had a FastPass for it, and I don't remember why we didn't do it. We ended up not doing it for some reason. I think she was sleeping.
Not doing the show?
Yeah, because she was she passed out. She was out in her stroller.
So they did Haunted Mansion, but not the Disney Junior show.
Go figure.
Well, I got to go mute myself.
We were looking for Puppy Dog Pal stuff. That's a show she likes. They didn't have any like stuff for Disney Junior except for that show. But, like I said, we wanted to do it. It just didn't work out for whatever reason. I actually don't remember the specific reason why we ended up not going, but because that was early in the week. I think it was like Tuesday. But, we just ended up not going. But we'll definitely do it next time for sure. A couple other things. So the character experiences, my daughter was not afraid of characters at all. Which was great. That was another thing we were concerned about, that she was, so many kids see the characters and they start crying or they freak out. She was not afraid of the characters at all. I was willing to share some pictures with everybody. So if you haven't seen some of the pictures, go on Facebook because they're great. It was amazing. I mean, she had a great time with the characters. We had a great time at Crystal Palace. She absolutely loved Winnie the Pooh and Tigger and all of them. She, just lit up and was so happy to see them. And then, man, Trevor, you've been talking about Garden Grill forever. And I mean, you've just been talking about it forever and how great it is. Garden Grill was amazing. We went there the last night. I think I said on the Facebook page, we had kind of a bad day. We were just tired. So,
and
where is Garden Grill anyway? I don't even know where that is.
It's in the Land in Epcot. It's the best.
I've never eaten the Land ever. I refuse to eat in the Land for I don't know why, but we've never eaten there.
But now you go to
I don't
Garden
know
Grill.
why.
Wait, is it the food from the place that you float by?
I mean,
No.
yeah, it's a lot of the food that's grown. Yeah.
Well, Trevor just said no, and you said
No,
yes.
no, sorry. It's not the same menu that you get downstairs. It has its own menu.
Okay.
But yeah, it's. I guess they do grow a lot of the food there, but it's really good.
Yeah, I think Damon was asking if it's grown in the greenhouse, if the
I
food
see.
you eat is grown in the greenhouses there. Which the answer is yes, except for the goldfish that were, in the mac and cheese. But
my wife and kid love that mac and cheese, by the way.
it's actually really good mac and cheese. I was a little at first. I was like, "Why is there goldfish on top of my mac and cheese?" But it was good.
Why not?
But we went at 5:00, which is fairly early, and it was dead. There was nobody there, and all of the characters, Chip and Dale and Mickey and Pluto. They came to our table, I'm going to say 5 to 6 times. Like, I basically said to my wife, I was like, if this is the norm here, then you're basically, you just don't eat your food. Like, it's just eating your food cold, basically. Because the second we got our food, they started coming up to the table, and they didn't stop for like a half hour, 45 minutes. Like, it was constant, which was great. I got some really great pictures. I took like 300 pictures and like several minutes of video.
We don't usually get that, but yeah, they do usually come by a lot. But even outside of the characters, I find that the cast members there, like,
oh yeah,
we've always had fantastic servers in Garden
They
Grill.
were really great.
Yeah.
So great. Everybody was really nice. Cast members were great there. So we had a blast there. And Crystal Palace was great too, but Garden Grill just was like a pick-me-up we needed. So it was great. Couple other places, we went to the Plaza, which we had talked about on the show, was really good. I liked it a lot. It was unexpectedly good. So that was a good meal. And the Edison was really good too. I'd heard mixed things about the Edison. Really, really cool restaurant at Disney Springs. Just like for the ambiance and the design alone. Plus, they do the 15% discount. They actually apply it to alcohol too. So if you like to drink, they're one of the few places that actually use the DVC discount for alcohol. So
yeah, that's really cool inside. We've gone for a drink whenever had dinner there, and we like the ambiance there.
Yeah, it's a neat place, right? It's very cool. It's very like industrial and. Yeah, and at night, like late at night, I don't know if you've gone late at night,
yeah,
but it's like where they do the performers. Yeah, where they have the performers.
Yeah.
but we weren't there for that, obviously, because I think after a certain time it's only like it's 21 and over. So obviously my daughter couldn't do that. But yeah, no, that was great. Homecoming was great. That's the second time we've been there. It was excellent. I did a DVC tour. Don't laugh about this. I did it. So I did a DVC tour because one of my good friends from college is a DVC advisor. And so I, set up a time to go and take a DVC tour with her just because, I wanted to see her. So, but during that, we were talking and she was telling me about how the direct purchase minimum points are changing. How it's going to be 100 minimum that you have to buy in with Riviera, which I was interested by because I know before I think it was 75, and now it's going to be 100 is what she's telling me.
So is that new purchase only, or is that for existing members as well?
New purchase gotcha. Only. So yeah, so all new purchases. Although she said that they went to 100 and then they went back to 75 briefly, and then she said she thinks they're going to go back to 100 soon. So when you buy direct, the minimum amount of points you'd have to buy would be 100. So
I kind of wish they would go a little higher than 100, to be honest.
Well, I mean, not all of us have a lot of points here, Andres.
Wait, how many points do you have?
Oh, I have 210. I'm just saying.
I'm not talking about Andres. How many points do you have?
Andres, yeah.
I have a weird number because we have a guaranteed week. I think it's like 536.
Ooh.
Okay, nice.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, you got more points than all of us.
Wow.
She also told me too. I'd asked her about the price going up per point for direct purchase on Riviera, and she said she doesn't see it happening for quite a while until maybe towards the end of the year after the resort opens. So she also did point out to me too that Riviera, like the cool thing about it is that if you buy into it now, that you get this year's points, but only have to pay for 2 weeks of dues. Because the resort doesn't open until the end of December. And I was like, so you get a full year's points on only 2 weeks of dues. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think everyone except February will get this year's points. If you have a February use year, you won't get this year's points. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly right. So I did take a tour of the units too. Gorgeous. Really, really nice. Huge. There's a lot of space. And they have the pull down those Murphy beds for the couches, which are really great instead of the actual pull out couches. Definitely see myself staying there at some point. Don't know if I see myself buying there just because of the restrictions, but definitely would see myself staying there for sure. It's very nice.
What restrictions you're talking about?
The resale restrictions. Yeah. Not that I would plan to resell, but I mean, you're talking about a 50-year contract.
Contracts though. Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you were going to get rid of a contract, you could always get rid of one of the other ones.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that is the new life, right? A DVC at this point. So,
well, you mean Riviera
it's over and past.
Yeah,
I mean, it's over and past. Trying to resale and have the ability, to sell to anybody. So
yeah, no,
that's
true.
Just what we're dealing with going forward. And again, for me, it was tough. I mean, I wanted to buy more points too. I mean, but I just, with this house, it was tough. But now going forward. I mean, I'm just gonna, if I buy, they'll go to the kids. You know what I mean? Like at that point, because I think that's, like I said, it's a little bit different now.
No, you're right, and I mean, I would never buy with the intention of selling. Just I wouldn't. But you never know what can happen, and it's nice to have an out. But I mean, you still have an out with Riviera. We just don't know what the resale market's going to look like for it, right? I mean,
Riviera is just Riviera if you resale, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just Riviera. But again, that might be fine with some people. Like I said, I can't tell you how many people. And think about this. Think about when people bought into Old Key West. Like there was no guarantee.
That's all there was.
Yeah, right? That's all there was. There was no guarantees there were going to be future resorts, right? I mean, you were just going to stay at Old Key West. I mean, so in my mind, it's some people are cool with that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll be interested to see what the resale market looks like for that. But the units are gorgeous, really, really nice. I mean, they've got the 2-bathroom thing going on like Polly does, which is cool. So there's like nice. Really nice. Yeah, it's really nice that you have the 2 separate areas and they're 2 separate showers too. It's not even just 2 separate. It's 2 separate showers.
Yeah.
So
you don't realize how big of a deal that is until
bathrooms are huge. Forget about showers. Bathrooms are huge.
Oh yeah. Well, I think there was only 1 toilet though. I think it's just 2 showers.
Oh, see, then that shower is going to get extra use, I guess.
Yeah. But that's what we did. We like there was 3 of us, and we had both showers going when we were in the Poly. So,
peeing in them or just showering?
showering, Damon. I don't know what your family does, but
there's only one toilet. I mean,
hold on, I need to go back and flush the shower. I'll be right back.
My family uses them for keeping ourselves clean, Damon. I don't know about yours.
That's a good thing to use them for.
I'm not admitting to anything.
Emergency situations, you never know.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So I took a little DVC tour, which was fun. I got free ice cream. That was nice too. So that was always good. Gave my kids some ice cream too, so that was fun. But I the only other thing I would.
Did you get fast passes?
No, we didn't do fast passes.
Why?
Well, because I was only kind of there to look at the resort. I was more there to see my friend, and it was just nice that she got me some ice cream, but I guess I could have asked.
I'm glad I don't have friends like that.
Yeah, I would have asked for sure.
Yeah, me too.
Sure.
Especially because she's your friend.
Exactly.
Maybe I should have.
Wait, does she listen to the show?
I think she does. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. So.
Uh-oh.
You can give those extra fast passes to me. Now I'm going to have to do a tour. Actually, you know what? Now it's funny because now I may actually do a tour just for the fast passes.
I mean, you can, right? I don't even know if they do the fast passes if you're an existing member, or is that just for new members?
I did that in October. I did it strictly
really?
for the fast passes. Yeah.
Huh. Wow. I didn't even think about the fast passes. I was just, like I said, I just going to hang out with my friend. Wasn't really thinking of it in another way. But
see, if it was my friend, I'd have been like, "Look, I'm not doing the tour, but you can give me the fast passes." Right? That's what. There you go.
I wanted to do the tour.
Yeah,
I wanted to
mark
do
me
the
down.
tour.
Check mark. I'm good.
Yeah.
You should go check it out, though, Damon. I think you'd like Riviera. It's really not. I mean, it's gorgeous. The rooms are huge and they're really well done. And
the thing is for me is, what am I gonna do? Buy 25 points at the Riviera? Like, what does that even mean for me?
Yeah.
One night.
Really,
yeah, exactly. One night.
Because the problem is that really all I want probably is like 20 something more points. I mean, my kids are getting ready to go to college, so either I'm gonna need like 300 more points and be at Andres level, or I'm gonna have to stay where I'm at. So I mean, because I'm gonna need to start bringing grandkids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Your 500 points would be a week for me. I mean, bringing everybody. So I don't know what my next game of attack is, but honestly, where I'm at now, it's like it gets us there for a week. I don't know what else I would do just yet, but I might do the tour.
Just to check it out.
I would do it. I really like the tour. It was cool. The rooms were really cool.
Well, and also, I don't even remember who my advisor is, who my DVC advisor is. So I'm like, okay, I'm my friend here. I'm like, you're now my advisor. So it's like you're not my DVC person because I
get fast passes when I go on tours. My dude hooks me up.
I hadn't even thought to ask her, so I will remember to do that next time. But
my advisor just gives them to me. I don't have to ask.
Yeah, see, there you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my
I
gosh,
feel incredibly ripped off now because I haven't heard anything from my advisor.
Yours was done all over the phone though, Trevor. So
True. Yeah.
So anyway, I want to finish up my part so we can talk about other things. Talk about Star Wars and all the other stuff going on. But the only other thing I wanted to talk about too, so I post a lot of stuff with my daughter on it. If you want to go look at it, I think there was a lot of adorable things that happened, but of course I'm biased because it's my daughter. But check out our Facebook page. There's some cool pictures on there and some videos that I think were really cool. And then, one of the other things I just wanted to say too, so she was absolutely obsessed with the animals at Animal Kingdom. Just like she tried to jump over the fence basically to go see the meerkats. And so that was pretty cute. But it was so hot the day that we were there that like none of the animals were out. Like every exhibit we walked by, there were no monkeys out. There were no tigers out. We went through both of the trails and that we saw maybe like 2 different species of animals on both the trail. It was pretty bad. So I don't know if that was the heat or if it was just a bad day for the animals or I don't know. But it was kind of rough at Animal Kingdom. But overall, great trip. Had a great time. OQS was great. All the restaurants were great. We had a lot of fun. Oh, and the gondolas look really, really cool in person. They look huge. Like I don't know why in my mind they didn't feel huge, but then when I got there and I saw the scale of them, I was like, wow, these things are insane. Like just the stations and how big they are and how well done they are. It was cool to watch them getting tested. I mean, I could just sit there all day and watch the gondolas go.
They move pretty quick too. I'm wondering if they'll move that fast once people are in them.
I've heard 11 miles per hour is what they're supposed to go, but I don't know if they're going to keep it at that clip the whole time or what. But yeah, they moved a lot faster, and then they were speeding them up and slowing them down and doing all sorts of different tests with them. So that's my trip. I've talked enough. Let's talk about Star Wars. So tell us a little bit. You went about a week ago, right? Or a little over a week ago?
Yeah, I went opening day weekend, so it opened up to the public on Friday, and I was there on Saturday.
Oh, great. Wow, so you were there like the second day.
Yeah.
So I guess we just want like a walkthrough. Like, what was the experience like start to finish, right? So you get in, and where'd you go first?
Okay, so let me actually start with how they got us in, because the cast members did a really, really good job of lining us up, taking us in, making sure that all went smoothly. So I had a reservation time from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. So I was hoping to get daytime and nighttime, so I could get some pictures. And so we asked when we checked in. First, we checked in at I can't remember the name, where the old Carousel Progress used to be at Disneyland, Launch Bay. So it was at Launch Bay. We checked in 2 hours before. We got our wristbands. They scan your wristband, and then they tell you just show up at 5 o'clock. No need to make a line. You'll just walk right in. So me and my wife were like, yeah, that's not happening. So we kind of killed some time for an hour, and then we show up maybe 3:45ish, and there's already people hanging around the exit, and the cast members are telling us, they're like, no, go ride some rides, because the day was dead. Disneyland was so dead. Most of the rides were walk-on. If they weren't walk-on, then we were getting Max Pass, but it was for 5 minutes from the time, and you can use Max Pass 5 minutes ahead of time. So we would literally get on the app, get a Max Pass, get on the ride. We rode like Matterhorn 3 times, Space Mountain 3 times. Like, we ran out of stuff to do. It was that dead.
That's what I've seen. I'm wondering if the same thing's going to carry over to Disney World, but I can't imagine. But it's amazing to me that all of the rest of Disneyland has been dead.
Yeah, people really stayed away. I mean, I've seen that too, where people are like, we're going to stay away. I know I've seen people say they're going to cancel their trips to Disney World for opening. Like, people were upset. Like, it was dead. People really did stay away.
And I think that what will happen is that Hollywood Studios will just be dead outside of Star Wars, right? Like I think
the rest of Hollywood Studios, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because there's so many different places to go, right? Like, you're planning days at a park when you're, in Florida, rather than the other way around at the, park that shall not be named in the West Coast. But I think it's just a little bit different. I think it's a different setup. So I don't know if we'll see that at Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom could be just as packed, because people are like, if I'm not going to Star Wars, then I'm not going to Hollywood Studios.
It almost makes you think that like the other parks are going to be more packed, because
I kind of feel that way. I'll be honest.
Like everyone's just going to avoid Hollywood Studios like the plague,
unless you have the reservation. But I think if there was anything open at Hollywood Studios, it would be great.
If there was anything open,
well, like outside of Star Wars that like anyone cares about. Yeah, but, like, what's there?
By the way, I went on Slinky Damon and it was kind of awesome. Just gonna say it.
Well, dude, like, again,
thank you.
I don't take anything. I don't take anything you say about roller coasters.
No, it was great. It was a ton of fun. My only complaint is that it was too short. That's my only complaint.
Yeah, you go on that, but not Space Mountain. That's like 3 times the three times slower, and you won't go on the Space Mountain. I'm just scared of the dark. So, that's what it is.
Okay, so before we go completely down another rabbit hole here,
sorry,
let
Tom
Andres finish his report on Disneyland.
I don't even think did we even get in there yet. I think we just
we're still outside. We're still outside the land.
We're outside the entrance.
Yeah.
So once you get your wristband, there's one of 3 entrances that you can go to. So there's one entrance by the Hungry Bear restaurant. Then there's the other one kind of by the ride, and then there's one in the middle. And so we had the Hungry Bear restaurant, and the whole group has to go to that entrance. So we kind of, that's when we started hanging around. It was like 3:45. We just like, let's go check it out and see what's going on. I've been to a lot of opening things, and I know how the lines can get. So 3:45, we're hanging around, and we're maybe one of 10 people, or 2 of 10 people, I would say. People are starting to kind of hang out, but the cast members are telling us, no, go ride on rides. At 5 o'clock, we're just going to let you ride in. And we're thinking like, no way, like we've been watching Instagram all day, and we know people like they let you in at a certain time or whatever. And so she's just like, no, just go away. You can't stand in line. You cannot form a line. So people are trying to hang out. So she's like, you guys have to go on the opposite side. So if you know where that area is by the Hungry Bear restaurant, kind of by Splash Mountain. Yeah. So we're trying to hang out by the canoes and the restaurant, but they said we can't hang out there. So then they were like, you can hang out across. So we go, and we're just on the rails of Splash Mountain there. And then, you know, as the minutes start going by, more people start showing up. And again, they try to get us to leave. And then at this point, more people start showing up. So then we're just in the walkway. So now we're just this big group, you know, in the walkway. And so the cast member comes one last time and she's like, are you sure you guys want to ride some rides? And everyone just kind of like looks at her. And then people are like, nobody moves. And she's like, all right, guys. She's like, 5 o'clock group, come in. So we just kind of walk briskly in, and by walk briskly, we may have ran a little bit.
Did the cast members seriously think you're going to take her up on it, though? Like, of course no one's going to walk away.
That's what we're all saying. It's like, this isn't our first rodeo. Like, come on, lady. Like, we're not gonna go on poo ride because it's a 5-minute wait. Like, we're waiting. Like, so yeah. But there is a cast member in the front, and then he stops us, and he's wearing like a, you know, not a suit, but like a dress shirt and slacks. So he's probably some supervisor or something. Yeah, manager, supervisor. So he's like, so then we're probably 2 people. It's a big horde of people, but we're probably second row, in the front of the group. And it's, by that time it was 4:15. So 4:15 they let us into the walkway. And so they bring us down, and we stop maybe halfway in the walkway, and you can start hearing all the sounds a little bit. But it's a pretty long walkway, and so I think that's why they use that one, because I'd been watching Instagram the day before on Friday, and they were using kind of the main entrance, I guess, and that doesn't hold a lot of people.
The one in Frontierland, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I had seen a lot of people go through the Frontierland entrance the day before, and so we were at the Hungry Bear restaurant the next day. And so as the minutes came by, then the cast member would tell us, okay, we're going to walk forward, you know, really stressing the walk forward. But at that point, we're in a big group, and so you can't do anything. So we all kind of walk forward a little bit more. And I think they do that because more and more people are lining up, so they need more room. And so we keep walking, and then we make it to the front, like where we can see the land. We can see, you know, a lot of that area that we're at. And it's on the opposite end of where like the Millennium Falcon is, the Cantina. So we can't see any of that stuff, but we can kind of see now some little shops and stuff, and the sounds, you know, a lot of the sights. And then so we're all excited, waiting in line. And then at that point, you know, they have some of the characters walking around. So we see Chewie, and he walks up to us, you know, and he makes sounds, you know, and so that's really cool. And he's kind of interacting with the crowd. And then
is he just like wandering? Like,
yeah, they're all just the characters that are wandering. They're not like it's not like your traditional character meet and greet where there's like a line forming, and then you go up, you take a picture, and move on. They're literally like walking around. Sometimes they'll stop for you, sometimes they won't. They're trying to interact more than anything else.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that was really cool.
That's surprising, because I mean, you don't see that. I wonder if they're going to do that in Disney World, because I know Disneyland does have a lot more wandering characters.
Yeah, a lot of the street guys are just wandering around.
So, yeah. Did he have like a handler like somewhere behind him, or like he's just walking around like?
Yeah, he had somebody, but not right next to him. Maybe 10 feet away, okay. 15 feet away, even, just kind of to make sure, you know,
no one messes with him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You don't mess with the Wookiee.
I mean, who would mess with Chewbacca, really? But anyway, continue. Yeah. Sorry.
No worries. So yeah, so we're sitting there in line, and you know, waiting, and then my wife, she turns to me and she's like, "Wow, I've never seen so many middle-aged men in my life. Single middle-aged men in my life. Like, it's seriously like the crowd is just like guys that came alone, and it's like, and we have 2 small kids, but we've been to enough openings or enough big crowd things that we left them at home for this. They don't even know we've gone, yet. So it would have been hard with the big crowd.
Are you going to let them listen to this podcast?
No, and they do listen to the podcast. I'm gonna have to skip this episode because my son does. No. My son is like a super Disney buff, like facts and everything. So we're gonna have to skip this one.
It's a good thing he doesn't come to the show for his facts.
I know, right?
But continue. Sorry.
So we're waiting in line, and we're just counting down, and so it finally hits like 5:00, and so they're like, "All right, guys, we're gonna walk you guys down. No running." They're stressing on that, and so they walk us down. They literally walk us all the way down. And there's like the people that are already in there are like spectators, just like taking pictures of us and taking a video of the crowd walking, because it's just like this mass organized crowd walking. Like we're just walking because the cast members are like walking backwards, with their hands up, like slowly walking. And so then we walk in, and then we can see it all. And I feel like all of a sudden we're no longer at Disneyland. We're no longer there. We're on the edge of the galaxy. It was so cool walking in and just seeing everything.
So you really felt like you were very much transported to somewhere else. It was really felt extremely immersive.
Absolutely. I would say immersive doesn't even describe it. I don't even know what word to use, but you are like completely immersed in Star Wars and the details of everything, the sounds. You can't even hear the rides going on, just right over the wall there, or right over the mountain there, I should say. It was really cool walking in. So they continue walking us in, and at that point, I'm just kind of like soaking it all in. And then we get to a certain point, if you've seen on the map where you build the droid depot or whatever, that's when they kind of let us go, where the cast members walk out of the way, and then it's kind of a free for all for wherever you want to go first. So, we rush over. We knew we wanted to do the Cantina first because we didn't want to do the lightsabers. I'm going to save that for when I go back, and take my son so we can do that. And those were the two things that had the longest line, the longest wait. Was you weren't going to do both. You were going to do one or the other. So if you want to go to the Cantina, that you got to go there first. If you want to do the lightsaber building experience, then you've got to do that first. And so you can't do both in the amount of time that they give you there. So we rushed over.
Cantina first? You went Cantina first?
Yeah, we went Cantina first because we're going to save the lightsaber for when I go back. So we go straight. At that point, we're kind of running a little bit. Safely running, but we're running. We head over to the Cantina, and we get there, probably one of the first 5 people. But there was already a line from the pass group because they cut off the line. But we're in the front, and from that point, they say it's a 40-minute wait already, and we're like one of the first ones that got in. So if you were like in the back of our group coming in, I imagine the lines were much longer. You probably couldn't do it. But I did hear a lot of people complaining that they didn't get to do the things that they wanted. So we're in line at the Cantina, and then a cast member comes up, and she starts explaining the rules to us, and she's in character. She's giving us the rules for the Cantina. So she says 45-minute max, 2 drink max, and that's it. And she says a bunch of other stuff that's just kind of in character. So we're like, okay, that's cool. They're really being, strict on that or whatever. 2 drinks per person, 45 minutes, and you gotta leave. So we wait, and then we go in the Cantina, and man, the Cantina was so cool. Again, the immersiveness of being in there. The DJ was really cool. I will say it's a little small, and so the crowds that's already bringing and going to continue to bring, I feel like they should have, or I don't know if they could have, but I feel like they should have made it bigger because it was a hit for sure.
Would it be as cool though if it were bigger? Like, I wonder if the intimacy of it makes it even cooler.
That's true. That's true. I guess that's a valid point. I guess I'm more thinking from going back perspective.
Capacity standpoint.
Yeah, capacity and trying to go back later once the reservations aren't.
I get it. Yeah.
It's going to be packed, but I get what you're saying. That makes sense. But so atmosphere, Cantina, super cool. The drinks, on the other hand, were I felt they were a let down. only because they were really expensive, even for Disney standards, and they were pre-made. So they're not like mixing cocktails. Yeah, they're coming out of a machine, and while they were good, I don't know that, and they're small too. See, that's the thing. That's the other thing. It was small, and then depending on the bartender you got, one of like the first bartender we got, he filled it up the cup to the top with ice, and then poured the liquid in there. So it was like 3 sips and it was done for $16. And then
Thanks.
Yeah, and then the other bartender, she filled it up to like maybe 3/4 full with liquid, and then she put some ice in it, and that was better. But still, the drinks were from $16 to $18 for a premixed drink, and while they were good, they're more on the sugary side, and we typically don't drink things like that. But we did have the beer. Those were $12. They had one called the Motivator IPA, and I don't know what they put in that, but like it made your lips tingle. It can't possibly be good for you. Whatever was in there, but
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was cool though, and it tasted delicious. Like the beer was good. I would go back and get a beer because, like I said, the atmosphere was great. I loved being in there and just how cool it felt being in there. So I would go back for a beer. But the drinks, I feel like they're kind of one and done for us, just because of the price and what it was. It wasn't. I didn't feel it was like a real cocktail. I don't know. That's just us.
I get that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. One of the drinks also had like I forgot what they call it. It was like a foam stuff on top, and that also kind of numbed your lips a little bit. So yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So we were. But
you sure you just weren't allergic to something?
No, the drink, I knew it did have that in the description, so I know that was true. But the beer was a surprise. But the drink was more numbing than the beer. The beer was like just like a slight tingle to it. Like I almost had to question it, and then I gave my wife a sip, and she was like, "Oh yeah," like it was cool. So we were in the cantina. So we asked, I was like, and it was pay as you go. So I thought like, oh, they're going to keep your tab, and then, once they see 45 minutes, they'll kick you out or whatever. And so I asked, I was like, so how long can we be in here? And the bartender was like, as long as you want, there's, no limit or whatever. And so I think maybe they were just saying that outside to kind of get you to go, but they weren't enforcing it like at all. So we were in there for a little over an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes. And then after that, we headed out, and then we went to the Photopass area, because they have the cool Photopass, in front of the Millennium Falcon. And so nobody's behind you. So when you get your picture, it's just
you and the Falcon.
Exactly. Just your party or yourself or whatever, and they take as many pictures as you want. They'll take pictures with your phone. They'll take pictures with your camera. They'll take pictures with their camera. Like they were very, very accommodating in that sense. They weren't trying to rush you through, and the line was maybe only like 10 minutes, so it went pretty fast. They had 5 photographers, so depending on where in front of the Falcon you wanted to take a picture, you could wait and say, oh, I want that photographer, or I want that spot or whatever. And just that kind of like if you want the first row in a roller coaster, you just say, I want first row, and then they'll put you to the side. So that was cool. And then just the details on the Falcon were just amazing. Like it looks, like I said, it looks like you are there. So that was really cool. After we did our pictures, then we went to the ride, and we had also been watching the wait times for the ride. And we had talked to a few cast members, and so they said, if you're going to go on the ride, go in the middle of your time slot, because when you first go in, you're overlapping an hour, and then when your time is up, you're also overlapping an hour. So there'll essentially be 2 groups in there. So then after that group leaves, then the wait time could drop. I saw it drop down to 15 minutes. And while we were in there,
Nice.
Yeah, while we were in there, the wait was anywhere from 15 to 35 minutes. That's as high as the line got, 35-minute wait, which was for an opening ride. It was really cool.
That's amazing. Did they limit how many times you could go on? Did they say like you could only go on once, or like could you go on as many times as you want to?
Well, yes and no. So
you can get back in line right away if you were fast enough.
So when we went on the ride for the first time, they were marking your bracelet just with a marker, just a line on it. And so then I was like, what's this for? Can I come back? Can I ride, more times? And the guy's like, you can ride as many times as you want. And I was like, okay, great. I was like, I have another question. When is the cutoff for the line? Because, we had planned at the end of our allotted time, we would get back in line, kind of like when they close, get back in line, and then you'll just be in line and let you go. Because I know for like the Cantina and the lightsaber, they were cutting those off pretty early because those had long lines. So then he's like, no, you can ride it as many times as you want, or you can get in right before your time's over. So I was like, I can come at 8:59 and get in line and you'll let me through? And he's like, yeah, no problem. I was like, why are you marking my bracelet then? And he's like, oh, we just want to keep track if you've gone on or not. So I was like, all right. So, we're just trying to plan everything because we only have 4 hours. So we go in and we waited, I think maybe 25 minutes. And that's just, a lot of that was just because the queue is also really cool.
Okay. So, sorry, just to stop you for a second. I'm really struggling right now how much I want to hear about this.
Try to keep it spoiler free. Let's try to keep it spoiler free.
Okay. No, yeah, for sure. Sure. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I'll just say it was really cool. And I get that because I didn't, the things I was looking at Instagram, I also wasn't looking at people's videos and stuff because I really wanted to be wanted to be surprised, especially because I was going the next day. I was trying to not look at stuff either. So the queue was awesome. So, we're kind of going slowly through that. And then, so you go into the ride area. So I'll tell you about the positions, but I guess I can hold back on the ride. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's okay. Like I said, details are more what I'm concerned about. The stuff in the queue and things like that. I really want to see that for myself.
Gotcha. No worries.
You're okay with the ride experience, but not specific things that happen during the ride, right?
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. All right. Okay. So you get to the ride. There are 6 positions. 3 positions, 6 people. Sorry. So 6 people go on at a time. There's 3 positions. So you have the pilot, you have gunner, and then you have the engineer. So first ride, I'm going pilot for sure. I gotta drive, or I gotta fly, I should say. I gotta fly the Falcon. So I did the pilot. It was really cool. If you're gonna do pilot, go on the right side because there's 2 pilots in the front. So definitely do the right side.
Okay, noted.
Trevor's writing notes right now.
I know, right?
I'm making a plan.
So, it's cool though. So when you get in there, they ask you for your group, and the same thing, you can wait. Like I knew I wanted to be pilot, so I was like, I want to be pilot. And they're in character, and they're telling me like, no, you're gonna get what you get. And the guy was like really cool. And so, but obviously he gave me the pilot, but he was just acting like he wasn't going to. So then you walk into the next room after they get your group of 6. You walk into the next room, and then that's when they give you your cards, pilot, engineer, and gunner. And then they kind of explain to you what's going to happen. Again, all in character. And then after that, then you walk into another room. And that room, I'll say you can take pictures in it. You can take, there's a cool photo op there, that you can do while you wait for them to call you. So again, it's not that traditional line numbers or whatever until the next room. Then there's spots on the floor and it'll say gunner, pilot, engineer, and then you stand on your spot.
Kind of like mission space kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
And this the ride is kind of like mission space, which I'll get to in a second, only more interactive. So you get in your position, they play a little video, and then the person comes, talks, they give you a little brief, and then you go into the Falcon. And so the ride is like mission space, except for when you push buttons and, do things, it matters. So, if you have a bad team, I guess, you'll get a lower score. If you have a better team, you can get a higher score. So at the end, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So I just wanted to ask. So it was just you and your wife there, correct?
Yeah, and so we ended up with 4 other random people, and it was actually a family of 4. So that worked out.
So you have to factor RNG into it as well if you're going to, or random number generator. Sorry, video game stuff.
Yeah, because they do have, at least here, they did have a single rider line.
Oh, okay.
And then when you're the single rider, you kind of get what you get. You can't pick and say, oh, I want to be a pilot, or they kind of just
you're just filling spots.
Correct. Yeah, you're kind of stuck. So you get a score at the end. And for the gunner, you can choose like automatic, or you can choose manual. And so that kind of messes with your aiming, I guess. If you choose automatic, you just kind of have to push the button, and if you choose manual, then you've got to work the controls more for shooting.
Where's the fun in automatic? Who's doing automatic?
Right?
That's not me.
Who's doing that? That's just like, then you're just doing mission space where like a button lights up, and if you don't push it, they go, oh, we automatically did it for you, which begs the question, why did you need me to push it if you could automatically do it? But it's never mind.
You got to think about the kids.
Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. You know what? I forgot about kids. You're right. Continue.
Because I think the height requirement is only 38 inches. So
my kid will be doing manual. So
awesome.
Disowned otherwise.
I know. All right. Continue. So after the ride, we just kind of went to the marketplace, and the marketplace is where they have.
Wait, before you go over to the marketplace, can you give like what did you think of the ride overall? Like,
oh, sure. So we actually got to ride the ride 3 times. I was going to go into that, but I can just say that now. We did the ride 3 times, and I was able to do all positions. And so like the last time I was like, I was like, I want to be engineer. She just like laughed because I said it all sadly, because I wanted to try it, but I had heard that that one's not, that great. But I was like, I got to try all of them. So I thought the ride was good, but for as spectacular as the land is and the details that went in the land, it's not an e-ticket ride, but it's good. It's not bad, but it's good. So I'm hoping that what's the other ride for the Rise of the Resistance? Yeah. I'm hoping that will be the e-ticket ride, because it's got to have at least that one e-ticket ride. But think of
it kind of seems like it. It kind of seems like it will be.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping too. So yeah, think Mission Space, except for it. You do have to do whatever it tells you. Because Mission Space doesn't make it. You push the buttons, nothing happens. So this one is you have to push buttons, you have to steer, or you will crash. So I thought, yeah. So I thought it was good though. It was really good. I know a lot of people are saying like, oh, it's just like a Star Tours, like a better version of Star Tours. But I thought it was much better than that. But like I said, it's not that e-ticket ride, but I thought it was really good. I thought it was fun, and I can't wait to take the kids.
Awesome. Continue. I'm sorry, Damon. Were you going to say something?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I felt like saying I was right because I knew this ride wouldn't be all that good. But I mean, do we really want to go back
He's
and
not
listen?
saying it's not all that good. He's just saying.
Listen, he is not saying that it's an e-ticket ride and it's great either, right?
It's fair. It's fair,
right? It didn't I even hearken it to just a better Mission Space? Somebody go back and listen to what I said, because I think we have no
accounting of what we say on this.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let me ask you this: if you're the pilot, is it an e-ticket ride, or
it's
is it
close.
just
as a
okay.
That is
right.
true. If I go into each position, I thought the pilot was very cool. The pilot was really cool. I actually didn't really like the gunner for whatever reason, and then I actually liked. I ended up liking engineer better than the gunner.
But does it matter what you score? Right, there was supposed to be this whole big thing about like, well, your score can change how people interact with you and all that.
Yeah. And so I thought that too. I was talking to my wife about that after, because I didn't remember that while we were there. But then once we got home, I was like, hey, I thought like if you got a bad score or something, then you went to the cantina, they were supposed to like make fun of you or, something like that. I kind of had read also, but no, I didn't catch anything like that.
Okay.
Cool. I also felt with the ride, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like with Gunner and even Engineer, like maybe there could have been like levels. So I felt like I could have done more than what was asked of me to do. And so maybe just like how the gunner has automatic or manual, maybe like engineer, could have like beginner, whatever, and advanced, intermediate and advanced. I think that would have been maybe something they could have done.
2.0, maybe.
maybe.
Anyway, sorry, the marketplace. I didn't mean to interrupt and go on
no
a tangent like we always do.
So the marketplace, again, the details were really cool in the marketplace. So, just a little shops of different things you can buy. They had those, I saw a lot of people, I don't know what they're called, those little guys on your shoulder. You can make them talk. I don't know if one of you guys knows.
We had this conversation last episode. We couldn't remember what the
I still can't remember their names, but yeah, we know what you're talking about.
We know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So they had like those, and those looked really cool. Like people had them walking around, and they were like really good at them, or maybe they're just really easy to control, but they looked really cool. And then also they had like the little, they're called porgs or porgies, I'm not sure. And those were also, you could make them move and do things, which was really cool. Like, people were good at them walking around, like felt like they had them for a while already. So maybe they're just really easy to control, but those were really cool. So after we did that, then we went to go, check out the food. We didn't eat, but we went to go check that out. And then after that, we went back on the ride. That's the second time. So I was a pilot the second time. Or not, sorry. I was a gunner the second time. And then after that ride, we went to go check out the droid depot. And that looked really cool. Also, they had a lot of, different combinations you could do. And once you're actually doing the droid experience, everything's like on a conveyor belt and kind of coming around. And then you kind of pick your parts as you go. They also had a droid there that was could buy for $25,000. Like a real life interactive. and I've heard they've sold 3 of them already.
Oh my goodness.
I know. So somebody with
wait, the $25,000 ones?
Yeah. I read that they've sold 3 of them.
I'm surprised it's only been 3.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah. I'm surprised they only made 3. I mean, they only sold 3. I just thought it'd be more. Anyway, sorry.
So another thing, just to know, like we were talking earlier about the characters. So we were able to see Rey walking around. We were able to see, obviously, stormtroopers walking around. The stormtroopers are really much more interactive than what I've seen down at Launch Bay. Who else did we see? I think that's it that I got to see.
These are the First Order stormtroopers, right?
Yeah.
We ran into them in Hollywood Studios, and I found they were different than the older ones that I remember seeing the last time we were at Disneyland. Like, they are definitely more interactive, it seems.
Yeah, and they're giving people a really hard time. Even kids, they were going up to like little kids and giving them a hard time. So that was kind of cool, I guess.
That's funny. That's cool. So I don't know what other details you want to share, because we're so far into the podcast at this point.
Dude, Tom, I'm already telling you that I'm about to switch things around. I'm talking about the 2 things that I want to talk about. Then I'm leaving.
So, are there any other highlights that you want to? I mean, and what your overall impression and feelings were, just to kind of tie a neat bow on this?
Yeah. So the last thing that, just from my experience, that I thought was cool, that was unexpected, was we did get in line for the ride, maybe 15 minutes before our time was up. And so by the time we got out, it was like right before 9:30. So then the fireworks started going off. And that was like the highlight of the night for me. Because there wasn't a lot of people crowding around, and it was just like the fireworks go off behind the Falcon. So I got some cool pictures of that. I had to like furiously dig out my tripod and bust it out while the show started. But that was really cool to see, the fireworks there. And people have reported even after that. I know it's reservations now, but you show up 10, 15 minutes before they start and you get a good spot for that. But yeah, the land was just incredible. The details that the Imagineers and the crew did, just phenomenal. It feels like you're there. And even I think the way that they did the entrances to get in, they're almost like tunnels to get in there. So it really takes you there, as opposed to like if you're in one of the other lands, you can still see your surroundings. But in Galaxy's Edge, you have the mountains and everything surrounding everything. So it feels like it does not feel like you're at Disneyland at all.
That sounds awesome. Cool. I thank you for telling us about all this.
I appreciate it.
Go ahead, Damon. Sorry.
No, just to say thank you. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, this is great. And you gave a lot of good information here. It sounds really great, and we're going to definitely hear more about this stuff. As the land opens and as we see it open in Disney World as well. So, Damon, before we go to you got
to pay the bills.
Yeah, we got to do our ad here. So we got to do that. So I'm going to do that right now for our friends over at DVC Rental Store. Are you a frequent Disney visitor who wants to save hundreds, even thousands on your next Disney trip? The DVC Rental Store wants to help you book your dream vacation for less. DVC members, great news for you too. Want to rent your points out for some quick cash? DVC Rental Store wants to work with you, and they are currently renting out points at a record pace. For years, the DVC Rental Store has been helping guests stay at Disney Deluxe resorts at an affordable price while also paying members the highest price for their points. So if you want to learn more about this, if this all sounds great, go to dvcrentalstore.com or call 1-855-DVC-RENT. That's 1-855-382-7368. Let them know that Welcome Home sent you. We always love to hear that our listeners are calling in or writing in to our sponsors and working with the people that work with us. So, again, that's dvcrentalstore.com or 1-855-DVC-RENT. Great. So
nice.
Yeah, exactly. So, I want to. We have a couple listener emails on here. I think maybe we should save these for next time.
We got to save them.
Yeah,
because again, we want to read them and we appreciate everyone, but
for sure.
Yeah.
And
but
I think
want to go to bed.
Stuff we need to talk about.
But I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to make you guys skip all the way down to the thing that I really want to talk about, and then I'm going to go because that's how I normally do.
Is this the Photopass studio? Is that what you?
No. I mean, I think that's cool.
It's the animation experience at Conservation Station.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So
talk about it. Let's go.
Let's go. Animation experience at Conservation Station opens in July. I actually had to bring this up to these guys here. They were going to just leave it off the list. Totally disrespectful. But anyway.
To be fair, I didn't see it at all because I'm not up on Disney News because I was away. So
yeah,
I'm blind, so there's that.
So Rafiki's Planet Watch, which has been closed at Disney's Animal Kingdom, is gearing up for a reopening. And actually on the Disney Parks blog, it has been revealed that when it does open, a new feature named the Animation Experience at Conservation Station will teach guests to draw some of Disney's most famous animal characters. So again, that like my kids are all about drawing. At least, actually, all my kids can actually draw, which kind of hurts my feelings because I can't. I usually try to skip out on these things because I'm embarrassed by them, but they love it so much and they're actually so good at it. Even my wife can draw. But I enjoyed when they had the place over at Hollywood Studios, right? Like I get like Star Wars was coming and no one could hold it back, but that was probably one of our best times at Disney is drawing the characters over. What was that place called again? What was it called before it was the launch day?
Not Artists. It's been so long now.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what I'm talking about. That was always a favorite of ours. So I'm glad to hear that this will be opening up and it will have that experience to be able to do some drawing. I wonder if it's going to be something that you're going to have to book, if it's going to be something that you're going to, could FastPass for. I wonder because the other one, like there was usually not a lot of people in there.
Well, they said that there's going to be a FastPass Plus for it. So
that would be good. And the other kind of cool thing, which I hope they do, is usually the person that this was always fun at the other places, that the person that was actually doing the drawing would randomly give it to somebody at the end. So the person that was teaching the drawing that actually could draw would give out theirs to somebody in the crowd. I hope they kind of continue that as well. That was kind of a fun.
That would be
thing.
cool.
That was a fun.
By the way, it was called The Magic of Disney Animation. Look that.
Yeah, that place was awesome.
Yeah,
and then Star Wars ruined it. No, Dad, I'm just kidding.
Star Wars ruined everything. They ruined all the parks and Disney and.
Yeah. I want to say that's all I really want to talk about. I mean, wait. So again, we're all, then I'll let everyone else talk. But really, the only other thing was the Photopass Studio, and so since it wasn't new, the virtual Photopass Studio, I didn't really know about it. So
didn't we talk? And Damon, I don't think you were on this episode for whatever reason, but Trevor, didn't we talk like a couple episodes ago about this showing up somewhere else too?
I seem to recall something about it, but I feel like every time that the Photopass Studio came up, it was always because there was something seasonal going on with it. Because they do like the Christmas photos there, and there was always like limited time things going on. But again, it like kind of like what Damon said, it's weird how we've all kind of ignored it up until now.
Dude, I would totally rock the heck out of that. So like, again, one of the big things on Disney cruises, it's just a huge thing that people do, is because they have photographers there, and it's a little bit more, sassed up on the cruise, people bring really nice clothes, and you kind of get your family portraits done there, and then they get, you can get them in your Photopass, for the cruise. But the big thing is that people will like, black tie it, or like get a true family portrait. I kind of feel like this could be the same sort of thing. Like, I do the Photopass, but man, if I could have 200 more pictures in Photopass with the virtual backgrounds, I'd kind of be on board with that.
And I guess kind of to that point is, if you want that picture in front of Magic Kingdom or in front of the castle without looking, like, everybody else that's touring.
That's what the Facebook groups are for. Yeah. Hey, can you remove these 3 people?
Did we even explain what we're talking about right now? I think we just started talking about it.
Well, no, it's the
virtual
Disney...
Photopass Studio in Disney Springs.
Yes.
Okay.
You feel better now, Tom?
Yes, I do. But also, too, Trevor, I was talking about a couple episodes ago, we talked about the animation stuff coming back to, it's going to Epcot. It's going to the Play Pavilion, too.
Hold on. You're talking about the animation experience.
About the animation experience. It's coming. I remember we talked about this a couple episodes ago, and I couldn't remember where it was. And then I was like, oh yeah, it's coming to the Play Pavilion too. They're going to be doing it there too. Which I'm glad they're bringing this thing back. I think it's great.
We talked about that.
We did. It was like 3 or 4 episodes ago, but
I remember talking about the pavilion. Oh yeah. Okay, I guess we did. But I remember talking about the pavilion. I don't remember talking about an animation thing going on there. Huh.
Yeah, I mean, it was, there was a lot of details about the pavilion, and maybe we just got lost in the mix there. But so okay, here's my question. Okay, so when you guys first mentioned this to me, I felt like awesome.
Wait, which one? The virtual thing or the animation thing?
Animation. Let's talk about go back to animation for a second. I was thinking to myself, is it a bit out of place in Rafiki's Planet Watch?
Not if you're drawing animals.
No, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's true.
I mean, if you're drawing Mary Poppins, yeah, okay. I mean, if you're drawing, Timba,
you're drawing Simba, I guess.
Simba.
Okay.
I tried to Timon and Pumbaa and Simba all in one.
If
you're drawing any of those, if you're drawing any of the animals, yeah, why not?
I mean, that's
because you could also learn about them while you're drawing them, which is, I'm sure, what they're going to do.
That makes total sense. Did we say the date that it's opening back up? It was July 11th, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I don't think I'm gonna have time to do it. I mean, it's all going to be Star Wars when I go.
Yeah.
Depending on how they do the queue. But anyway.
Well, we'll have to see how that's going to work out.
Yeah, I'm going to bed. That was it for me.
I think the one thing I would add to this is that, this is, remember before Rafiki's Planet Watch closed, we were kind of wondering if, they were actually going to do anything with that place. And I think this is good because, one, it's going to actually take people over there. Like there's an actual reason to go over there now, because before, I know we all liked it.
I think you're over-exaggerating people's want to draw while in Disney, though.
There is a subset of people that want to do that.
It's a very small subset based on what I saw at Hollywood Studios.
But, I mean, they are doing a FastPass for it, though, so it's going to have a FastPass option. So
I think maybe that brings more people to it because they actually know about it.
Yeah, because it'll show up in the FastPass list.
Tier 1.
Yeah. That's interesting because then they're going to have to do it in structured sessions, right? It's going to be like a half hour here and a half hour there. Like it's.
Yep. But that's what they did at the other place.
Yeah, it is what they did there. Yeah. So
let me see if there's anything else I actually care about. FastPass changes coming to Hollywood Studios. Don't care. Rode those rides 8 million times. Brazil Pavilion. I don't even get me started. I can't even address that. I truly just can't even address.
It's a
that.
rumor.
Yeah, so that's why I'm going to let it go because it's a rumor. But remember, this week I get to see Katie.
That's right.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
So when is that happening? When are you getting your Wolf tour?
Thursday. So this upcoming Thursday at 10:45, we will be at Busch Gardens. I will make sure to get pictures for sure and post a few of them over at the Facebook page. So I think that will be fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, you'll have to let us know how that goes on the next episode for sure.
Yep. See, and if Tom had actually sent me hats, I could have brought one. But Tom.
Things
after
happen.
all.
You know.
Exactly.
Never.
So.
Never gonna let that go. And by the way, Scott wanted me to tell you, Damon, that the hats are awesome. That's what Scott said.
No, dude.
Scott from Tampa was like, "Tell Damon the hats are awesome." That's what he told me.
He hasn't seen our hats yet. That's Trevor and myself got cooler hats. He just hasn't seen them yet.
Oh,
Wait,
you guys got
the
flat brim hats. You're gonna leave the stickers on them and everything.
Wait, how old was Scott?
I mean, I don't want to guess at how old Scott was. Scott you could write in, Scott, and tell us how old you are if you want to. But Scott,
the
liked
question
the
question is, if you had the option to change it in for a flat brimmed hat, would you? I listen. I know a lot of people wouldn't.
No, not my
myself.
style.
And you can put Damon in his place if you want. That's you shouldn't be asking.
Actually, I'm no. You're allowed to ask males their age, just not females. I mean, there's a sort of.
Damon, I forgot to take a picture of him with the hat on. I wasn't even thinking about asking for his age.
Well, yeah, that is true. That is true. All I was getting at is that I think that there is a demographic,
fair enough,
maybe for the differing type hats, or maybe it's head shape.
Maybe that's fair
it could be head shape. There's a lot of things I guess that can contribute to the want of a flat brim versus.
No, are you gonna?
I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of surprised Trevor wanted the flat brim.
Oh, what does that mean?
I mean, I'm kind of just surprised. That's all. I mean, they don't have a lot of basketball teams up there, but again, their basketball team may win the championship. So,
sure,
well, we do have flat brim hats, so it's not exclusive.
They made their way over the border. You sure?
We smuggle them with the maple syrup.
It's usually like 25 years behind, so I figured you guys were still kind of in the 80s.
25 years? Oh my
god! Sorry to all of our Canadian listeners.
Oh I jest. No.
Go to bed, Damon.
That was funny. It's like one of those books, right, where you get too tired and the parents keep telling you it's time to go to bed. Yeah. Like that's what I feel like today. So.
All right.
Anyway, well, thank you very much for joining us, Andres. Much appreciated. And
no problem. I appreciate it, Damon.
But the thing is, if I'm going to get off, you got to sass them when they need it for the rest
of
the show.
We'll do.
I mean, listen, the Tom and Trevor show is straight fanboy, so we need a Simon Cowell here. That's
Exactly.
All right, Damon. Have a good night. We'll talk to you next week or 2 weeks from now. So, now I'm completely lost on what we're even talking about and where we are. Oh, let's FastPass changes?
Yeah, let's start back at the FastPass changes in Hollywood Studios.
Can we still call this a rumor, though? Because this is...
No. I didn't put this under rumors. This is news. This has been confirmed.
But I mean, has Disney actually confirmed this, or is it...
So people who stay club level and have the 90-day window, this is what they're seeing now in the FastPass selections on the website.
So basically what's going to happen is everything except for the shows is moving to Tier 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
Meaning that you're only going to be able to pick one of Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, Toy Story Land rides, Mini Mickey's Railroad, Runaway Railway, Star Tours, and then we don't know what the FastPass situation is going to be like for Star Wars Land, because even though and Andres, you can confirm this or not. I saw pictures of a FastPass line built into the Millennium Falcon ride, but obviously they don't have the FastPasses set up. But
I must have missed that. I didn't see a FastPass line. I only saw there was a standby, and then on the other side was a single rider.
Yeah, so, I saw somebody maybe it was I think it was built in already. So I'm assuming they're gonna have it. It's just a matter of the crowds dying down. But I know a lot of people are upset about this, right? There's a lot of people that are mad about it, right? And I get it.
I'm one of them.
Yeah, I know, I get it. I'm not about to discount the anger about this. I do wonder the point of this. Like, why are they doing this?
I think what I read is that they were saying, not that I agree, but that they were saying that so that way people can at least get on one ride because of the crowds they're expecting. So that way you can only choose one of those tier 1 fast passes.
Right. I think because the thing is that they know, again, Star Wars Land is going to be just straight standby. So we know it's not direct crowd control to Star Wars Land because they've obviously got that handled via other ways. But I think it's a way to stop people from hanging around Hollywood studios, I guess. Like
loitering in Hollywood studios.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, they only have so much space even outside of Star Wars Land, and
that's a good point.
I think this is a way for them to stop. There being, Star Wars Land will be at capacity, but then the rest of Hollywood studios will be a mass of people waiting around. And I think this is a way to people really, like, even for myself, I mentally evaluated it as, do I just go to Star Wars Land and ignore the rest? Because there's no point. Like,
here's a question for you, okay? What if this is a temporary measure, right? Mm-hmm. What if they do this until they decide to introduce FastPass to Star Wars Land? And when that happens, then they completely screw up the tiers. They make Star Wars, maybe they make Star Wars and Toy Story all tier 1 and everything else is tier 2. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe this is a stopgap until they finally decide to offer FastPass for Star Wars Land and then it changes again.
It's got to be temporary. There's no way that they're going to have all of these tier 1, forever or for a long time.
Yeah, I agree. And also, if you think about it, it's kind of backwards too, because, like Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster have been around for like ever. Why would they suddenly make those tier 1 after all this time? Like they had so many more opportunities to decide to do that. Even at the opening of Toy Story Land, they could have decided those were tier 1s, but they didn't. So
yeah,
it very much seems to me like, yeah, this is, I feel like this is their answer to why there's not a reservation system at Disney World, like how you had in California.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced they're going to do nothing. I still think they're going to do like a virtual queue or something like they're doing at Disneyland after the first month. There's no way they do nothing, right?
Yeah, they got to have a virtual queue for sure.
Because it sounds like, and Andres, so you can tell me I'm wrong about this, but it sounds like from the people that were in the reservation system, it seems like they really limited it where the park was not busy at all. Even though there was long lines to get into stuff, it wasn't like you were shoulder to shoulder with people walking around the land, right?
No, not at all. The only time we were shoulder to shoulder was when we were in line waiting to get in. After that, it was busy, but it wasn't shoulder to shoulder at all.
So it seems like Disney understands that the experience being packed into that land is not going to be good, right? So like they have to limit it somehow, right? So, I mean, I just feel like they're going to have to do something. I feel like the virtual queue situation makes the most amount of sense. So I feel like that's what they're going to do, but I don't know. It's interesting to see because they cannot do the same thing they did in Disneyland, just based on the sheer number of hotels.
Yeah,
I wish just at Disneyland, like I don't think it would work at Disney World, but I wish at Disneyland they kept this reservation system going because it worked very, very well. So Disney World, they got to put something in place, and a virtual queue I think would work.
Yeah, and like Damon said, though, the biggest problem, though, is that, you're not dealing with, Disneyland where you have a limited amount of space where people can be even outside of Galaxy's Edge. Like Disneyland is very tiny, right, compared to Disney World.
Yeah.
But, and so, yeah, I think they're factoring in that, all those hotels around there, they don't want it that, you show up at Hollywood Studios and, like you said, before you get into the land, it's shoulder to shoulder. Like I can imagine, walking into Hollywood Studios and just seeing the boulevard just be completely packed. Like before you even get to Galaxy's Edge, you're already, completely turned off. So I feel that this is one of the ways that they're stopping this. And then I hope that by November it would be nice if they took it away, because that's when I'm going. But yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on it.
Wishful thinking. Yeah, no, I do think this change is interesting, but I also am a believer that Disney doesn't do anything like just to do something. This is obviously part of their plan, and from what I can tell, it seems like their crowd control plans have worked out extremely well at the opening of Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland. So I want to trust the process here. But at the same time, it does stink. I mean, it kind of reminds me of the current situation that Epcot is in, right? Where at one point, I think during our trip, we only FastPass one thing, because the three most popular rides are all tier 1, right? So we had FastPassed, I think, our first day at Epcot, we FastPassed Frozen Ever After for my daughter, and then Spaceship Earth. And it's like, what else are you going to do after that? You're not going to FastPass Nemo, because there's never a line for that. You don't really even need to FastPass Mission Space, because you can usually walk on to that. So, like, what else are you going to FastPass there? And that's kind of the situation I feel like you're going to run into here, is you're going to end up with one ride, and then you're not going to FastPass any of the shows. Like, why would you FastPass a show? Like, there's...
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, with the exception of Fantasmic, maybe. You know?
That's the other thing, too, is that the way they split it is that it's all the rides, and then all the shows are tier 2. So it's almost like they want you to fast pass the shows. It is weird. And I think I read in that article too that there were no fast passes available for Fantasmic and something else. I probably should have pulled the Star Wars fireworks, or I guess it's not Star Wars fireworks, but the fireworks show.
Yeah, but it's things that have had fast passes in the past, like, and they're just not there. So it's like, okay, well, that's kind of weird. Like, what was it? Oh, Fantasmic and Star Tours were.
Oh, Star Tours, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Which is really weird. And this is from touring plans, and they're speculating that Star Tours maybe would run without a fast pass during the opening phase of Galaxy's Edge. I don't know if I believe that or not. It just seems weird to me.
Well, but honestly, I haven't felt the need to fast pass Star Tours for a long time. So
Star Tours is one of those rides that sometimes is an hour and sometimes it's like 15 minutes, and it's like a half hour apart from each other. Like, it'll be you'll look at it and it'll be 50 minutes, and then a half hour later it'll be 15, and you can just walk on. I mean, I think I went on it 3 times without a fast pass on this trip.
Yeah,
so.
That's exactly it, right? You know, I just always look at it, and, you know, if it's busy, you know, you come back and you do it when it's not busy. So, and I don't know if I see it getting any more busy when Galaxy's Edge opens up, other than maybe, you know, people just desperate for a Star Wars fix.
Well, and that's kind of what they're speculating here. It's like your consolation prize for not getting into because you're standing right there, right? I mean,
yeah. I was going to say maybe the overflow of just people hanging around the entrance or trying to get in might hop on.
But if that's the case, you know, then Muppets is going to get busy too. You know, I mean, Muppets is right there too. So, I mean, you know, people could just filter their way into Muppets. But I guess that's a big theater show. But I mean, it's not getting your Star Wars fix, right?
Yeah.
So
right.
What I want to know is, walking through that Star Tours queue, they're still set up like it's Hollywood Studios, like it's the behind the scenes thing. Like, you could still see all the structures of like the trees and everything. When are they going to fix that? Like, they need to, if we're not studios anymore, we need to, you know, close out all those trees. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I was in line with some people, and I overheard somebody say to somebody else, like why does this look like this? This is like, it's unfinished. Why? And I was like, I wanted to say to the guy, well, it used to be that this is like behind the scenes of like making movies and stuff, and so it was supposed to look like this, but now it's not anymore. And you know what I mean? But it's like, how do you explain that to people? It just looks bad. They need to fix that. So anyway, that's an aside. But
well, maybe you've hit on something there. Maybe they have intent, once things are up and running, that Star Tours may go down for a bit of a refurb. Oh yeah,
I think it should. And as I've said before, and I will continue to say this, they need to make the exit go into Star Wars Land. They need to make it so you land on Batuu and you walk right into Star Wars Land off of Star Tours. There's nothing that would be cooler than that. It would be perfect. You already end most of the time on Star Tours at Batuu anyway. I did have one time when I rode it this time where we didn't end up in Batuu, which I thought all of the rides ended up there, but this one didn't.
They've got an A and a B side now.
So that's right. Okay, so I ended up on the B side.
Yeah, so there's one side that's the classic one, which is random, and then there's another one that's all Batuu.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, 2 times was Batuu, and the other time it wasn't. But... yeah, I mean, I just hope they do that someday. Maybe it has to calm down before that happens, but I just think that would be so cool to do it that way. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, I get this, I understand, but it stinks. I mean, it's gonna be. I still think it's gonna be temporary, and I still think when Guardians opens in Epcot and Ratatouille opens, I don't think that those are all gonna be tier 1. I think they're gonna, either untier it completely like Magic Kingdom, or they're going to make like a couple. The other day when I was there, I was at Epcot on Saturday. Frozen had a 20-minute wait at like 10 o'clock.
Yeah, because the hype's gone already.
Well, no, but I mean, it's still later in the day. It was busy, but it was raining all morning. So, But I mean, like at the same time, so are they always going to have that tier 1? I don't think so. I mean, everybody's going to start going over to Guardians, so that's probably going to be tier 1. I would assume at Epcot, tier 1 is going to end up being like Test Track and Guardians at some point. Just a guess. I don't know.
And Soarin'.
Yeah, probably Soarin' still, but even Soarin' doesn't have long lines anymore because of the third theater. But I don't know. I went on Soarin', by the way, on one of my rides, and the middle portion of it was shut down. It was broken. That was the first time I've ever seen that. Although I don't really think it was broken. I think somebody got sick and puked all over it because I saw cast members. So they said it was broken, but I don't believe them because I saw several cast members walking with large amounts of like washcloths.
Oh.
Yeah, they were walking out through the theater with washcloths and one of those little trash grabber things. Like they were holding the washcloths in the trash grabber, walking through the theater. I'm sorry, but you're lying to me that it's broken. Somebody puked on that thing.
It's a protein spill.
It didn't. No, it didn't smell. It didn't smell at all. It was weird because so after you get through the line and they tell you which concourse to go to, right? And you're down that hallway. Like you usually wait in that hallway for 5 to 10 minutes at the most. We're there, and it's like 25 minutes, and we haven't moved. And I'm like, what's going on? This doesn't even make any sense. Like, how could it even possibly not move unless it's broken, right? And so then all of a sudden we all go there, and somebody goes up to the line and requests to be in the middle, and they were like, "Oh, the middle part's broken." But then I see all these cast members walking around with rags and buckets, and I'm like, it's not broken. This is a lie.
Hazmat suits and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Just be glad you weren't on that time when that person did get sick.
Right? Oh, when it happened.
Oh my gosh. What would I just had a terrible image in my head of that person being in the top row. So just
oh my gosh.
Oh my god. This is just okay. Let's not talk about this anymore. Yeah, let's go on to another thing. So do we want to talk about rumors?
Yeah, let's do some rumors here. So I guess I'll start this one off because Damon kind of touched on this. Is that the latest rumor is the Brazil Pavilion is set to open in Epcot in 2022. The pavilion is rumored to be going between the Italy and Germany pavilions in World Showcase. That's currently an empty 1.5 acre plot left for a future pavilion since the park opened in 1982. The thing about this is that there's no plans for an attraction. It's only going to be shopping and dining, which, I mean, again, not every pavilion has attractions, which is fine.
Yep.
But, I mean... I guess I don't know what I don't know how long they've been in negotiations or whatever. I'm just surprised at Brazil, I guess. Like
just the choice of Brazil.
Yeah. Like I don't know if there's a better country. I would think it's just it seems. And again, this is only a rumor, but if they brought it in, it would just be kind of weird, I guess. Like all of a sudden, just another pavilion opens up and it's like. Here's a restaurant and a shop.
Yeah, but like a Brazilian steakhouse would be pretty great. Just saying.
I was thinking the same thing.
Okay,
it has to be right.
Yeah, you got me there. That fair point. I
it has to be a Brazilian steakhouse.
I did forget about the Brazilian steakhouse.
I mean, that's got to be the restaurant. I don't know what else are they going to do.
Yeah, but I don't know if I want to be in a meat coma in the middle of Epcot, though.
Oh my god, that would be the worst in the middle of summer. Oh my god,
it's all hot.
But that Parmesan beef is so good.
Yeah, those meat sweats would be brutal.
It would be. Here's my real concern about this. Does that mean they're going to take away the train set? Because that's where it would be, is the train set right there. And I love that train set. I'm a train fanatic, and I just sit there and stare at that train set every time I'm there, and that's right where it would be. That's concerning to me. That's how I selfishly don't want them to put it there just because of the train set.
That's kind of what they're implying, because I mean, if you think about it, there is that whole. It's a fairly large walk between those two pavilions.
Oh yeah, no, it's huge. But there's a ton of space.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be good. Like I said, it does bring obviously the Brazilian steakhouse, and I mean, culturally, I guess they do need to kind of update it every once in a while, right? Like the pavilions. I thought the original plan was that they were going to start, or they were going to have more of them, or change things out over time. It seems like it's kind of none of that really happened.
Well, yeah, they originally had plans for a lot more pavilions, right? And a lot of them fell through, and they've been talking about adding another pavilion forever now. So of course, this is still a rumor. It might not happen. And truthfully, this rumor has come up, I don't know, 2 or 3 times over the past couple years here. So who knows? But this is from WDWNT, and they're saying that they're going to start construction immediately. So I don't know. I mean, I could see it happening, I guess, because this has been in talks forever. But I would be sad if they didn't add more attractions. But at the same time, I was just there, and they are doing an insane amount of construction everywhere. I don't even know where they're finding all the people to build all the stuff they're putting together, because there's just construction everywhere at Disney right now. It's everywhere, and it's amazing to me, all the stuff that they're doing. But I would like another ride, but I'm trying to think. Because originally, from what I had heard, I think this was supposed to be tied in with the movie they were making. Wasn't it Gigantic? Which I think took place in Brazil. Was that what it was? I
feel yeah, that's what it was. But
that movie got canceled.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, like, if you were going to tie it in with a movie, then that would have been cool. But
I would also counter that, World Pavilion shouldn't be justified by movies either.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Yeah, no, that's totally fair. I'm just saying, like, it seemed like they were going to try to tie it in that way.
Yeah, but again, it is just a rumor, and they're saying 2022, so that's a couple of years out. I mean,
so I still have time to see my trains.
Yeah, exactly. You should probably go take some video when you're there in October.
I'm so disappointed when they get rid of those trains. Speaking of the Germany pavilion, by the way, when we were just there is a new act there, and I don't know how new they are, because I've been out of the loop for a couple of years, but where they play like pots and pans as instruments, and like they play like spoons and stuff like that, and it was hilarious and fun and great, and they were awesome. So if you haven't checked that out, go check that out, because it was really good. And if my phone battery wasn't dying, I was gonna actually record it, but I didn't. I unfortunately could not. But yeah, if you haven't checked that out, go to that show. I don't even know what the show's called. I have no idea. But it's on that stage in Germany, and they were really, really good. So anyway,
cool. Yeah, well,
aside,
I'll keep that in mind.
I don't even want to talk about this next rumor, because I this is just crazy to me.
Okay, so first of all, this rumor came out. So everyone knows what we're talking about. The rumor was that the Land and the Living Seas pavilions were going to get demolished. This rumor has since been confirmed by Disney to be false. They came back and said, no, we have no plans to get rid of these pavilions. But the original rumor was that they were going to bulldoze these pavilions sometime between 2024 and 2026, which is just crazy to me. Like I can't.
I don't know. So okay, so we know some people over. We know a couple people over there at WDWNT, and they have good sources, but they're not always right. They're sometimes wrong, right? So I read this and immediately thought it was not true, because I just can't imagine them doing it, because those are two like classic Epcot things, and they seem to be wanting to preserve the classic, to go back to the classic, as opposed to, obviously they're adding new because they're adding characters in, but they're changing the entrance, they're changing the feel of the whole place back to kind of the original concept, I feel like. And I feel like getting rid of those two things would be like getting rid of part of the original concept of it. But I also have to say the quote confirmation from Disney is also a little sketchy to me, because we're talking about
it's a little open-ended, the way they said it.
Yeah, but it's also the source of it. It was what the it's like Walt Disney
Twitter.
World Today, right?
It's
their
account,
Twitter.
so,
Yeah. That Twitter account has also posted incorrect stuff many times. I've seen many times where they posted things like where they posted a cupcake that was coming out and saying now available, and it wasn't available for like another month, or like I just wonder to myself how accurate the Twitter account is, and I would like to see something from like Disney PR saying, hey, this isn't true. You know what I mean? As opposed to someone that's a social media intern working on the, you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
They also didn't say it wasn't being torn down. They kind of just said like, oh, it's going to be with us into the future. Well, how long? How long is into the future?
How long is into the future, Reed? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, fair, but I guess the way I look at it is, maybe the rumor got it wrong in that, there's probably some plans to do some updating to the Living Seas and to the land, because, again, in revitalizing Epcot, those lands are fairly old. They're not, they don't look dated to me. Like they
Living with the Land needs an update. I'm just
they're getting to that point where they are going to need an update, so they're probably planning for that. But to say that they're going to completely demolish those lands, to me that's like saying that you're going to get rid of Haunted Mansion because it doesn't fit in Liberty Square anymore.
Yeah, it's
like
they're going to tear down Spaceship Earth because it's that's what it feels like. Those lands are iconic. I mean, you can't take those away. I just don't see it.
Yeah,
right.
And again, for me and my family, when I told my wife this, I got that, they better not touch my garden grill. And I'm like, okay, there's going to be an angry letter here. so there's that. But then also there's so many things to those pavilions. I know that they're not like, it's not like going on test track, or it's not super exciting, but there is some character to those pavilions. And I really hope that, Disney is not, like, I hope that this is actually just a rumor of, a revitalization and not demolition.
Those pavilions to me feel like the last vestiges of educational Epcot, right? Of like the part where it's not a thrill ride, it's you're going and you're learning something about, the natural world, about, and to me, the seas, the Living Seas, which is now the Seas with Nemo and Friends, that's been fairly recently updated with the Nemo stuff, and it looks great still. I mean, I was just in there, and it doesn't look like it's outdated at all. It looks like it's up to date and in good shape. Now, the land could probably use a sprucing. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. But at the same time, these are classic parts of Epcot, and the whole idea of, if you've never gone on Living with the Land, I know it's not the most exciting ride in the world, but it's really interesting. And it's to me a key component of what Epcot is. And so for me it's like, you can update that, sure, but if you get rid of that, that's getting rid of just a key part of Epcot to me.
Yeah, don't touch it. That's
I mean, you can touch it. You can make it a little more up to date. I swear that one of the signs in Living with the Land is from opening day at Epcot. Like I was looking at one of them, I'm like, they haven't changed that sign out since the park opened.
Yeah, I mean, you can polish it, but just don't touch it. Like,
don't ruin the whole thing. Yeah. I get it.
And I mean, Soarin' is in there too. Like, what would they? How would they?
They'd have to build an
that?
External entrance for Soarin'.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they'd have, and that just seems like a lot of work for, again, not a good reason. Now, I think there can be some improvements made at the land, because the entrance and exit of going into and out of the land is not ideal, right? So you want to go down to Soarin', you got to walk all the way up that hill, and then you need to get all the way down either an escalator or stairs. It's kind of a bottleneck, right? So I feel like it could be optimized, it could be made better, but you can't get rid of it. I mean, it's just.
I wouldn't call it a bottleneck. I've honestly never seen like the way that they designed it. There's always a flow of traffic, I think.
No,
like
I would, yeah.
But
I get that.
Yeah, you're right. You are really climbing up a very large hill to get inside, and then you have to come down the escalator, which that could probably use some improvement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, we talked a lot today. I don't know if you want to add anything, Andres, but I think we've covered all the topics today, and we'll wrap this thing up at almost 2 hours here.
Yeah, but
sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
And so thanks once again, Andres, for coming on and telling us all about Galaxy's Edge. I think we're all more excited now that we've heard all the accounts of it, and it sounds like you had an amazing time in there.
I did. It was incredible. Seriously, what those guys did with the land and the details and just the feeling of being there. It's really cool.
Awesome. Can you, before we end here, go ahead and tell us about I know you have a Disney Instagram page that you have, so if you want to share the details of that, please do.
Sure, yeah. So actually, I got really into photography with going to Disney. So I like to stay as late as I can into the park. So I have a lot of empty park shots on my Instagram. So it's the.disney.couple for my photography. And then we also have an Etsy shop at Faith Trust Sawdust, also Disney. So check it out.
Awesome. Yeah. And thanks again for coming on and sharing all this. We really appreciate it. So go ahead and, Trevor, you want to go ahead and wrap us up?
For sure. So for anyone that wants to comment on the stuff that we've been talking about today, or, obviously listener emails are important to us. You can reach us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. So we love your questions. We love the comments. We got some great ones this last week, but of course with everything we were talking about, we couldn't read them. But we still really want to have you guys keep sending stuff into us. If you don't want to read us there, you can also find us on Facebook at Welcome Home Podcast. You can also see pictures and some of our posts through Twitter and Instagram, which is Welcome Home Pod and Welcome Home Pics. Those link back to our Facebook page, so you can basically keep up to date with everything that we're doing on Facebook. For iTunes, we're listed on iTunes. We're listed on I think we're on like Spotify, Google Play, everything now.
Yeah.
Those reviews on there, again, we really do like when people post reviews, good or bad. And that helps us get more visibility on those services. So it helps more people find us that may be looking for a Disney podcast. One of my friends actually subscribed to the podcast the other day, and they said that we were the second one on the list because there was actually another Welcome Home podcast, but not related to Disney. But so what we said is that so we're the B one that stands for best podcast. So make sure you find the second one.
The second one, depending on what you're searching for, it's going to show up differently. But
make sure it is the Disney
first
one.
the worst, second the best, right?
That's exactly what it is, right? If you're not second, you're last. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
So don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. As Trevor mentioned, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, just about any podcast app out there. Just search for Welcome Home. Look for Disney DVC Podcasts. There are other Welcome Homes, so just look out for that. Of course, just a reminder to our listeners, as always, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions expressed on the show are our own. So please consult your DVC representative, you're a cast member, call Disney directly for more information about anything we talked to about today. Thanks to the DVC rental store today for sponsoring this episode. We really appreciate having them as a sponsor, and please go ahead and check them out. Of course, join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert AWOL, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
We do a huddle when we hit easy chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.